James, so you want to be a YouTuber?
Well, yeah. I mean, well, I started a channel and, we'll see how it goes.
Have you ever done rant?
Rant? Personal, isn't it? It's quite personal.
You got to do rant.
Yeah. I mean, with my wife I have, but not publicly.
Well, if you want to make it on YouTube, you're going to have to do a rant scene.
Really? I feel a little uncomfortable. Can we just stop for a second? Hello everybody, second edition of The Good, The Bad and The Ugly. Thank you everyone who has said on Twitter what they want to see in this show. I've taken a couple of thoughts from you guys and there is a lot of ugly out there in the world of football at the moment and I'm going to be talking about all of it. If you want to get involved, follow me on Twitter at James Allcott and let me know who you think should be in The Good, The Bad and The Ugly. If you're new to James Lawrence Allcott, that's my channel, that's my name. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, and then you won't miss out every time we do a video. Quite a weekend when it comes to good, the bad, and the ugly. I never thought I'd be talking about someone spitting, but I will be doing that later in this video, so make sure you stick around. But let's begin with the good. First up, anyone who watched my match reaction straight after the Liverpool versus Man United game will have seen that I was pretty glowing. And it's not something that I overly want to do, but Jose Mourinho got it right. He had a very, very good weekend. Tactically, he was spot on. I wondered if it was just me who was thinking it, but when I watched Match of the Day later, Genius and Lampard were talking about the exact same thing of what Jose Mourinho did to win that game of football, which was put McTominay and Matic there, drive Liverpool to play through central areas, which is what they shouldn't have done. They should have switched that earlier. He allowed them to be solid, to generally feel quite comfortable in terms of being defensive, a lot like a Burnley does or another side does. But what they had was such quality and power going forward. The other thing, of course, Lovren had a nightmare. Lukaku bullied him. And again, those long diagonal balls that Lukaku then won and then headed into difficult areas, again, it sounds basic, but it worked. It got to Rashford and he was clinical. So Jose Mourinho, 1 win in 8 against Jurgen Klopp before this weekend. He's had a very good weekend. Second nomination for the good this week is Newcastle United. A massive 3 points for them at home against Southampton. Total 6-pointer. I had Southampton down to at least get a draw out of this one. I've been waiting for them to click into gear, but Newcastle started the stronger, got those early goals, and it made a huge difference. When it comes to those games, especially the home games, if you can get that early goal, then you get the crowd behind you, and it only leads to one thing, which is 3 points. Such a huge moment for Newcastle and their season, because this is a football club that is on a knife edge between disaster and a really exciting future. And it all rests on them staying in the Premier League this season. If they can stay in the Premier League, then in the summer, people who want to buy the club, and Ashley's made it clear that obviously wants to sell the club, they're a much more exciting proposition. You can sell the club as soon as it hits May. They've got a whole summer to implement what they want to do, and they'll do that with Rafa Benitez as their manager, a manager who is world class. He's in that top 10. But Premier League relegation, you lose Rafa Benitez. You can't sell the club, or you won't sell the club at that moment in time, which again is just going to lead to more frustration. And who knows if another manager can take them up. Probably can, but it still puts you back 3 or 4 seasons. So that win and that big step towards survival in the Premier League made it a very, very good weekend for Newcastle. And the last nomination for good is actually a debate in itself, and I need your help with this. I'm going to put a poll card up. But is it a good deal or a bad deal? And who's got the good deal and the bad deal when it comes to Mkhitaryan and Alexis Sanchez? Apertim D71 sent me this tweet. Mkhitaryan and Alexis swap deal should be discussed. I said, tell me more. He said, like how everyone thought Alexis swap deal as huge success for United and relatively poor deal for Arsenal, but judging from their performances, Mickey's vastly improved at Arsenal, involved in 8 goals in a month, while Alexis looks clueless in a Mourinho team. And you've got to say he's got a point. When we were talking about this deal, it was about Alexis Sanchez. It was about him playing the piano on that little Twitter video. The point is, Mkhitaryan was half of that deal. It was a straight swap, something that you don't really see in football anymore. And Mkhitaryan, in 15 games, he only got 1 goal and 5 assists. But in just 8 games for Arsenal, he's already turned around and done better than he has in the 15 games he did for Man United. So you're seeing an improvement there, an improvement in his value in himself and therefore the quality that he's offering on the pitch. And on the other side of the coin, you've got Alexis Sanchez, who went to Manchester United, a team that was in far better form, as the league table suggests, than Arsenal. And he's gone into that team and he's only scored 1 goal, and importantly, his key passes at Arsenal was 3 per game on average. It's only 1.4 at Man United. So he's having a difficult time. But let me know, I'll leave it to you guys to decide. Poll card is right there in front of you now. Get voting. Who has got the better deal here? Alexis Sanchez or Mkhitaryan? Who in the next 2 years is going to deliver more? Let me know. One nomination for the bad this week, which is a guaranteed, is Rangers, and in particular Alfredo Morelos. Rangers, who have been miles off the pace when it comes to that old firm rivalry with Celtic. They haven't got anywhere near getting a victory. They were in great form going into this game, and Celtic were starting to have a bit of a wobble. It was a game that they had an opportunity to cut the league points gap to 6 points. Then you've got a title race on your hands for the first time in, 6 years. In that game, they go into the lead. Then Celtic get a man sent off. What an opportunity for Rangers, and they had chances. It must have been absolutely excruciating for Rangers fans and for Celtic fans. The limbs that must have gone absolutely everywhere when they scored that 3rd goal. That must have been unbelievable. Will you get better opportunities to win an old firm game than that kind of scenario at home when the other team's got 10 men? No, you've had a nightmare of a weekend. My final nomination for the bad this week is going to lead in quite nicely into the ugly section as well, because it's West Ham United. And I'm going to start on the pitch and the slide towards relegation, which a few weeks ago it was looking like they'd turned the corner. Arnautovic was banging in the goals. David Moyes had set up a team that could win games, and they battered Huddersfield 4-1. Since then, and in the last 3 weeks, 4-1 to Liverpool, 4-1 to Swansea, 3-0 at home to Burnley. Burnley are having a great season. That's not what I'm talking about. The bottom line is you cannot be losing at home 3-0 really to anybody apart from Man City, and it'd be okay. In the next 3 games, there is a crucial game surrounded by 2 nightmare fixtures. Man United and Chelsea, either side of Southampton. That Southampton game is 6-8 priceless points. They cannot lose that game of football because they're going to struggle with the other 2. It is getting really, really scary for West Ham. For them to go down would be an absolute disaster. So on the pitch, it's looking really bad. The first nomination, we've got to stick with West Ham. What an embarrassing period of time for a lot of West Ham fans. The relationship with the board is toxic. It has been for a long time. And I think the emotion that was there, ready to go for the march that was scheduled for that game. Frustratingly, the march was cancelled for a lot of fans, and so they struggled to deal with their emotions. But when you cross the line, for me, that's it. You know, Mark Noble's got involved. Mr. West Ham has had to get involved, and I don't blame him at all for being physical with those guys, because however you feel about it, the way it's going to come across is that you're thoughtless and probably drunk and probably just a bit embarrassing. And that's what happened there. Amazingly, there's a real context that a lot of fans that aren't West Ham fans won't know. There was a protest that happened in 1992, and it was around a bond scheme that was being put onto West Ham fans to give them the opportunity to buy a season ticket because they had to replace the seats in the ground in 1992. And there was a fan in a game in February against Everton at home when they went 2-0 down. He raced onto the pitch from the South Bank, took a corner flag, put that corner flag into the centre spot and sat down. And that was quite an iconic moment for West Ham. Unfortunately, if that one guy had done it and there had been some organisation to it, then you might have been able to have an impressive moment of solidarity from the fans. Unfortunately, that guy's lost his composure and he's ran onto the pitch, he's grabbed the corner flag, and so for some West Ham fans, they will understand the message that's been trying to get across there. Unfortunately, you've got other football fans who've run onto the pitch as well, and then it just looks like yobbery, which again, for West Ham fans who want to go and support their team and go be a part of something that they can be proud of, they've been let down. The smart thing would have been for West Ham fans, if they still wanted to march, to organise themselves and to do it at the end of the game, not after you go 2-0 down. They weren't smart with it. That's what's labelled at football fans time and again, is that we're just morons. We're not, but we let ourselves down when we do stuff like that because it gives you a headline, it gives you a picture that people can use. But the bottom line is, these are football fans that have been told lies for a long, long time, and they were so close to organising themselves and doing it right. And right at the final moment, it's turned into an absolute mess. Time for the ugly now, and my first ever rant scene. Here goes. Second nomination for ugly this week, Harry Kane's injury. No, I can't handle this. Not again. Come on. No. My contact lens. See? Tear ducts, they're ready to go because I can't handle another key player for England. Hang on. First time. No, come on. It's time and again. Rio Ferdinand. I nearly said Gary Neville there, no chance. Wayne Rooney, David Beckham, people getting injured when we need them the most. And the frightening thing with this is, even if he does make it, is he going to be match fit? Because England, and I'll get laughed at here, they do have a chance. This is football, and this is a major country in football. We're going to have to be resolute, we're going to have a hell of a lot of luck. But in Harry Kane, we've got someone there who could do something for us. No. He'd get us a 1-0 win against a big nation and get us to a semi-final, and then who knows what can happen. And he's the guy, isn't he? He's the main guy, and I just can't, not again. Frustration, I try and be positive with England, but Harry Kane not being on form, not being at that tournament, not starting as captain, I'm starting to think we're cursed, aren't we? We are cursed. No, come on. No. And finally, when it comes to ugly, did I think West Ham would be top this week? They've got a serious battle here because Jamie Carragher has decided to spit out of his car at someone. What are you doing, Carragher? This is mind-blowing that you could be this stupid. Carragher was driving home and he was getting a bit of banter from some idiot in a car, and he couldn't deal with it. And when I think about spitting, it's totally inexcusable. It's the lowest of the low. There's nothing that can be said that can allow you to go, oh, okay, oh, hang on, sorry. Oh, no, Jamie's got an excuse. Oh, right. So the tweet says he goaded me 3 or 4 times. It's not enough, is it? And then when you go on the Mirror article where he's put a statement out as well, he's saying he goaded me 2 or 3 times. Again, it's not enough for you to wind down your window, have a couple of words. And this is what's incredible about the whole thing. The amount of gob. Watch that video again. Who would have known that he had so much saliva in his mouth? I thought this was pre-planned when I saw the amount of spittle coming out, and the amount of saliva coming out of his mouth. When you look back, he has a couple of chats, and then from nowhere, this gargantuan amount of flob enters his mouth, and he's good to go. And there it is, slap bang in the face. So if we take those 2 quotes, which quite clearly suggest that he is clutching at straws here, he knows he's got no leg to stand on. What I've realised is, and this is worrying, and this is Jamie, this is, if you're watching this, you need to take a look at yourself and work on this, I would say, because what we've learnt here is if we take the average from the 2 quotes, it only takes 3 little jibes of banter, which is about a football match.
Haha, you lost. 2-1. Better luck next time.
And this is a guy who's played at Old Trafford time and time again. He's played at so many football grounds, got destroyed. People yelling at him all the time. But he's got a 3 banter strike limit before he starts spitting. That's worrying. When something like this happens, you've got to, there has to be commentary. It needs to be reasonable commentary from good sources of morality, sources that can say, yeah, this is wrong, this shouldn't happen again. And so TalkSport went and did that, of course, with Vinnie Jones. I mean, yeah, he's like the Buddha of football, I'd say. That's how I like to describe him. He said, it is cowardly. Fair enough. How's the lad driving not driven after Jamie? Rammed him, dragged him out of the car and beat 7. You know what I mean? If someone spat at my daughter sitting in the car, I'd have been after them. 2 wrongs don't make a right, Vinny. Come on. There is no sitting on the fence here, clearly. Jamie is down the road, down the job centre tomorrow. Saying that, Sky They moved quickly on this one. Jamie was in chatting to Sky News, and to be fair, they didn't mess about. They were hard. They were very hard in how they interviewed him for that. He said it was a huge mistake, a moment of madness, and he's been suspended. Let me know what you think. Does a moment like that deserve, ultimately, the end of your career? I will spare a mention, though, for the dickhead that was filming and goading Jamie Carragher. And you can hear, if you watch the bit, once the daughter has been hit by Jamie Carragher's spit, the glory and the joy, and you can hear the pound signs as he talks about, hang on, this spit has hit my daughter.
You spat on me.
Oh.
Don't.
Oh.
What?
Jamie Carragher spat on my daughter. Nice.
It shows what an idiot this bloke is. Heckling another footballer, I get a little bit of banter, but going again and again and again is pathetic. And then seeing the pound signs, which he's obviously taken because it's now on the Mirror website, the video on the front page of the Mirror and throughout the media. And this could lose Jamie Carragher's job, which, can you argue if he does lose his job? He'll do very well if he survives it. I always feel a bit funny. It'd be interesting to know what you guys think about this. When these kind of things happen, how much of a role model is Jamie Carragher in all of this? Bottom line is, it's horrific to watch. He must be totally embarrassed, and it puts a stain on his brand for the rest of his career. It's amazing how one little moment, and for what? For what? So that's it for the good, the bad and the ugly. The poll cards are there. Vote right now. Who do you think deserves to be the good, the bad and the ugly? As I said at the start of the video, if you like this content, hit that like button. I'd love to get a decent amount of likes on this video and try and get this channel moving. Hit subscribe. I'd really, really appreciate that. And follow me on Twitter at James Allcott so that you can get involved every Sunday and let me know the good, the bad and the ugly from the weekend. Until the next video, I'm off to create a shrine of Harry Kane's ankle. Come on, England.